talking to somebody just the other day, talking about the current political situation in the United States and feeling that you can't make a difference. And we were discussing the fact that we sign petitions and we send money to organizations and we do the things that we feel like we can do to make a difference. But to a great extent, we feel like we're disempowered. And I wanted to talk about that today because I really feel like we all have way more power than we think we do. And I work with a lot of writers, and I'm always talking to them about what I call authoring change. But you can author change you don't have to be a writer to author change. You don't have to write a book. You can author change in your own life. You can author change in other people's lives. You can author change in communities, organizations, the world, in a variety of ways. But I think that when we feel disempowered, when we feel like there's nothing we can do to make a difference, it's important to remember that we make a difference all the time. Now, you could decide to do something like go out and volunteer, right? You could feed the homeless or volunteer at a shelter, animal shelter. You could volunteer for your local senator, congressman, whatever it is, right? But when you have an encounter with someone, so you come face to face with someone and you say something that makes a difference in their life, that's empowering. And you have to realize that you have that sort of power. You could have make a difference with your children, right? If you're a parent, you have that ability to be a good role model, to teach, to be a mentor, right? So you have power there. You have the ability to make a difference. And the difference you make, for instance, with your kids, or if you're a teacher with your students, is going to make a bigger difference. It's going to have a ripple effect. Now, let's say you go to the grocery store and you're checking out at your local grocery store, and the person who's checking you out and asking for your money, etc., begins a conversation with you. You're empowered. You have the power, the personal power to make a difference in that person's life. And it could just be by asking them, how are you today? How's your day going? Right? Anything like that. The other day I was in a store. I was in a metaphysical store, because I like to do all that woo-woo stuff. And so I was in there buying some essential oils and looking at the crystals and looking for a candle for my stepdaughter. And there's a girl in there who I always talk to. She's always in there. And so we're having a conversation. And I said to her, well, what do you do when you're not here? And she said, I go to school. I said, what do you go to school for? What are you studying? She said, astrophysics. I was like, oh my God, you're going to be a rocket scientist. And she said, exactly right. We got in a conversation. It turns out that I have a friend who is involved in rocket science, and she had a friend who knew, there was a connection there. And I said, well, contact me, because when you get done with school, maybe I can hook you up. And and it made a big difference in her life. But there are other times when you might be talking to someone, let's say, my hairstylist, and I'm getting my hair cut and she's talking and she's struggling with some stuff, and I begin to ask her questions about that. What are you struggling with, and what are your aspirations? What are your ambitions, your goals, what would you really like if at the end of the year you achieved what you wanted to achieve? What would that be like for you? And in that way, I can actually shift her out of struggle and into ambition and future thinking that's more positive. And that makes a difference. I have the power to do that. I have the power to do that. I have the power to do it by walking down the street and smiling at a stranger. The other day, I mentioned there was a woman walking with her dog, and the dog had this pretty pink raincoat. And I started talking about how cute the raincoat was, and I talked to her, and I talked to the dog, and she was smiling, and I put a smile on her face. That's having power. So we have to remember that just because we don't have the feeling that we have power over some of the larger things happening in our lives or in the world, we do have power. All of us have personal power. We are empowered people. And I want you to walk away from today's video knowing that you are empowered. And I want you to begin to use that power in ways that do make a difference, whether it is smiling at a stranger, whether it is talking to the checkout person, whether it is talking to your friends, going and giving a speech to a class of students, or giving a speech or a presentation to a corporation, or shifting somebody's mood, or whatever. I want you to exercise your personal power in a way that makes you feel empowered and makes you see that you're making a difference in the world. Okay? So, as I said, you could do that with one-on-one with a lot of people. You can do it with Facebook Live. You could be doing it on YouTube. You could be doing it with a book or a blog. I always say that I make a bigger difference with my blog every day than I could ever make with one of my books. Because the likelihood of my books being, selling 300, 400, 500 copies a day is pretty slim, whereas my blog gets that many readers per day. I have 3 blogs, so between them, each one gets anywhere from 150 to 500 or 600 people a day showing up. Real people, not bots and crawlers. And so I make a difference in that way. So how are you going to make a difference? I want you to write down all the different ways that you can make a difference. Will it be by speaking? Will it be by teaching? Will it be by your encounters with people? Will it be through a book, a blog, an article, a podcast, a video? How are you going to do it? But stop feeling disempowered. None of us are disempowered unless we allow ourselves to be. So don't allow yourself to be disempowered. Take back your power and use it for good. I'm Nina Amir, the Inspiration to Creation Coach. I'm a certified high performance coach, and if I can help you feel more empowered, contact me. I would love to be of service and to help you get the results that you'd like to get. So if that's of interest to you, we can spend an hour together with a free strategy session. Just go over to ninaamir.com/free session. Pretty simple. ninaamir.com/free session. And apply for a free session with me, and we'll get it on the calendar, and we'll meet together and we'll talk about how you can feel more empowered. And if you're an author and you'd like to use your power, your personal power, your message about change through a book, if you'd like to use your power in that way to author change, to make a positive and meaningful difference in the world with your words, your written words, I have a program that's called the Author of Change Transformational Coaching Program, and I would love to have you in that program. The Author of Change Transformational Coaching Program, 12-month intensive on how to become a transformational author and get your change-inspiring book out into the world. So if you're interested in that, go on over to ninaamir.com/ACT live, act live, okay? And check out that course. And in the meantime, whatever you do, come from a place of personal power that's positive and meaningful and that makes a huge impact, a positive and meaningful impact in the world. And until next time, go out there and achieve more inspired results.